Blessed Monday of Holy Week. I have my students in my room with me, but I thought we'd do a quick reflection on the gospel for today. As you know, yesterday we celebrated Palm Sunday. We also call it, the long name is Palm Sunday of the Lord's Passion. And of course, you all have your palms, right? And maybe there's nice little palm crosses, but we tried, but this is a failure because we did it when the palms were dry. But after Palm Sunday, we have Monday of Holy Week. And on this day, we are given the gospel of the anointing at Bethany, when Jesus is, amongst friends, and Mary brings out this big jug or jar of perfumed oil, and she cracks it open, and then she anoints Jesus's feet with it. And of course, people are saying, "Oh my gosh, what a waste! What a waste!" And in fact, Judas says that, right? Judas says this. Judas says, "Why was this oil not sold for 300 days' worth wages and given to the poor?" But then John was very honest, saying that, he didn't say this because he cared for the poor, right? But because he wanted the money. And Judas, of all people, he was sort of like the treasurer of the group. And so he wanted the money. And as we know later, throughout the week, we will hear that it was Judas who sold out Jesus for 30 pieces of silver. And so, what is the significance of Mary's anointing of Jesus, right? Jesus said that it was a sort of a prefigurement or preparing him for his burial. But what struck me is the last part of this reading, which is after all is done, Jesus is, his feet is dried up and everything. And this is what it says. Let's hear it. The large crowd of Jews found out that he was there and came not only because of him, but also to see Lazarus, whom he had raised from the dead, right? So remember, just a week ago, if you were at Mass during the year A readings, you would have heard Jesus raise Lazarus from the dead, right? He called him out of the tomb. And what's happening now to him? The chief priests plotted to kill Lazarus too, because many of the Jews were turning away and believing in Jesus because of him. Brothers and sisters, poor Lazarus, he was dead already, right? But yet Jesus called him out of the tomb. He had a second chance to life. And now the Jews want to kill him, right? What did Lazarus do? He did nothing but allow Jesus to use him as an instrument. And even the instruments are now being persecuted. This points to the Christian life, brothers and sisters, that being a Christian, that following Jesus, means that there might be a target on our backs. That, we have a risk of being ridiculed. We have a risk of being targeted. We have a risk of maybe even being harmed in some way. But the test for us is are we still willing to follow Jesus? Are we like Lazarus, who, even though he is being chased after, continues to live a life that follows Jesus? Or are we like Judas, who thinks only about himself and his selfish ambitions, and seemingly on the surface says things and does things that is seemingly good, right? As he said, you should give the money to the poor. But in reality, in his heart, it was not for the poor. It was for himself. And I think we can be both sometimes. Sometimes we're like Lazarus, that we give our entire selves to Jesus. But sometimes we can be like Judas too. Doing things on the surface. Oh, you're such a good Christian. But then deep down, maybe our heart's not in the right place. So brothers and sisters, where are we on this continuum between, Judas and Lazarus? Something to think about today as we continue with our Holy Week. Let us ask the Lord to give us the grace and the strength and the courage to be more like Lazarus, to be unwavering in our faith, so that when the time comes, the Lord can say to us, well done, my good and faithful servant. So blessed Monday of Holy Week. I'll see you tomorrow. God bless you.